The Start of a Royal Addiction by Zageli. Royal Pemperer. Today is the day that Princess Celestia tries Anon's scratches. Ever since that awkward incident a few days ago, that human abilities have intrigued her. Her brain has been nagging at her for 2 days straight now, screaming at her that she needed to try Anon's scratches. Eventually she gave in and asked Anon if he could give her some. Princess Celestia was currently laying on her bed waiting for Anon to arrive. Twilight had said that the best place to be patted and scratched was on the comfortable surface where one could lay down. So Celestia picked the only logical place and decided that it was her queen-sized bed. She glanced at the corner of her room, which was particularly filled with letters, all sent by said purple princess. Celestia smiled at her antics. Twilight had been sending tens of letters in the past few days, reassuring her that scratches weren't any kind of drugs. Twilight had mentioned even running a few tests on the after effect of scratches. She had said that they don't correlate to drugs in any way. A warm giggle escaped her lips as she thought back to the situation a few days ago. She remembered that the complete look of relief when Twilight realized that she wouldn't be punished for getting scratches, and the mortified expression when Anon called her Twilight's mother. It was kind of funny in a retrospect. Her thoughts were interrupted by a knock on her door. "Someone named Anon is here to see you, Your Highness." The voice of a guard came from behind the golden door.
Let him in. Let him in.
Celestia didn't raise her voice, but the guard somehow heard her. The door opened and Anon stepped inside. He slightly adjusted the tie around his neck. He was dressed in a black formal clothing and looked quite dashing in it. The door shut behind him, and the door was bathed in a golden glow, a telltale sign of a sound damping enchantment reactivating. Celestia chuckled.
"You know you really don't have to wear that. This isn't some kind of formal event."
Celestia hides her smile behind her hooves. "Yeah, I know. I just made the mistake of telling Rarity where I was going today." Anon rubbed the back of his head and smiled. "I swear, that mare cannot take no for an answer."
"Yes, but she does mean well. Even if you're overdressed for the situation, you do look good."
This time, she didn't hide the smirk that spread on her lips. Anon chuckled. "I thought I was the only one who's supposed to be pampering you."
"Well, come over here and let's begin."
She patted the spot next to her. Anon sat down next to Celestia, slowly brought his hand atop her head. Okay. He could feel the very interesting feeling of her ever flowing mane between his fingers. He noticed that he could move his hand through as if it was air. Her mane was smooth as slick and has no knots whatsoever. He spent a few seconds just interacting with her magical mane. He ran his fingers up and down her hair, allocating a pleasant hum from the mare. Celestia felt incredible. The finger had run through her godly hair. Sent shivers down her spine and relaxed her muscles. It was so relaxing that she could barely keep her head up.
How does your hair do this?
Anon looked down at Princess Celestia's face, and he had to hold back a chuckle. She had this small smile on her lips, and she was staring off into space, her eyes unfocused. Anon chuckled.
Do you want me to start now?
Huh? Celestia simply replied, her eyes regaining some semblance of focus. A smirk spread on Anon's face as he brought both of his hands on top of her head, one patting and the other giving her scratches behind her ear. A flick then moves to the side, allowing for easier access to the base of her ear. Her eyes unfocused yet again as she sighed. She could practically feel the accumulated stress being sucked out from her very being. He could feel Celestia melting at his touch. She leaned her head into his arms. Anon brought his right hand on her chin and started giving small rubs and scratches under her chin. Eventually, it seems that holding up her head, using her muscle was not an option anymore. She put the complete weight of her head on Anon's palm, which somehow he could feel the hold with one hand alone. It was like she couldn't even move a single muscle. Her brain was overloading with bliss. All she can think of was how amazing it all felt. Then it all ended. Celestia blinked a few times and rubbed her eyes with a fetlock. At some point, Anon had laid her head to rest on her bed. Somehow, she hadn't even noticed.
So, you're finally awake now,
Anon smirked.
You fell asleep for a few minutes there. I guess you might have been tired.
Celestia hid a yawn behind her hoops. I guess I might have been. Her gaze drifted back to Anon's hand. Anon raised his right hand up and wiggles his index finger.
Sorry, princess, but no more for today.
Celestia pouted and tried leaning her head closer to his hand, which he recalled from her head. Why not? The adorable princess adorably asked.
I made a mistake of giving Twilight too many pets and scratches yesterday, and she kind of, well, you know.
He rubbed the back of his neck. Wait. Well, what? She cocked her head to the side. Well, what?
When I stopped, she started begging for more, and when I said I was too tired to continue, she kind of started chasing me around her castle trying to get more pets.
Anon shrugged. Oh, wait, hold on. Hey, I'm sorry. Let me restart.
Well, when I stopped, she started begging for more. And when I said I was too tired to continue, she kind of started chasing me around her castle trying to get more pets.
Anon shrugged. So, pets and scratches might have actually be like a drug to you ponies. He gave Celestia a cheapy smile. Celestia hums in thought. I might have to talk to few other ponies about this. She brought her hoofs to her chin, tapping it a few times. Whatever she was thinking of, Anon was sure it was something profound knowledge that she couldn't even fathom. Could I have a few more scratches before you leave? Could I have more scratches before you leave? Her pink eyes bored into Anon's very soul. It was nay impossible to say no to that face, but he couldn't. He shouldn't. He had given enough pats to her already.
Sorry, princess.
Please. Any more of this, and Anon would have died from type diabetes. He didn't know which type. He just knew it was going to be the worst type. I really shouldn't. She leaned closer. Her puppy dog eyes glistened with moisture. Anon rolled up the sleeve on his suit jacket and checked his bare wrist.
Oh, look at the time. I really should get going. I don't want to be late to an important meeting back in Ponyville.
Anon took another step towards the door before he felt a suit of his jacket being pulled. He looked back at Celestia. I will not let you leave before you give me 5 more minutes of scratches. Her eyes narrowed. Anon audibly gasped. With that, I end the second series, or the second sequel, of the first edition. Well, I know you guys really didn't ask for this, but huzzah! We made another day. Bye!